Soldier Ehud Benaniyah of the Battle Axe of the Most High, coming to you with another Fervent Friday. All right. Yes. I pray that everybody has dodged all the holiday surprises this week. I know they was coming up with all types of tricks to probably get you to celebrate the the remembrance of elimination for your people. Right? That's how they do it. That's exactly how they do it. Right? Y'all won't even guess what today is. All right? It's not Black Friday, right? But in a sense, because you know what Black Friday was? They was pretty much selling and trading of our people from plantation to plantation based on skill sets and things of that nature, right? They had their, I guess, their own version of an NBA draft or things of that nature, right? But now they have it as some type of indigenous day now. That's like a slap in the face to the Northern Kingdom, to Gad and Reuben, right? Like y'all got them put away on well, I'm not going to call them plantation, reservations, right? And they're not able to be seen. Yeah. Shalom, up there, good to see you. Pray you dodged all the turkey and all the requests to come by and see people that you haven't seen in Lord knows how long, right? Because I tell you, they probably had a whole bunch of tricks up their sleeve, right? A whole bunch of tricks up their sleeve. Man, I'm just waiting for a couple people to come on in. Name of this class is going to be called Black Friday. Be not turned away, right? Don't want to be turned away into their just getting excited about the wrong thing, because this week we have a new moon coming in this weekend. We got the Sabbath coming in today, right? Yesterday, a lot of people probably, if they're just starting out in the truth, con. I stayed in the house myself, you know what I'm saying, to work on the class, you know. It gets out of control. Like when you're doing the truth, right? I remember the first year I told my family, I'm not celebrating on Thanksgiving. What? You're not celebrating Thanksgiving? What's wrong with you? That's when they start saying that you're in a cult. That's when, no matter if you tell them, it's like it, no matter if you tell them the history of Thanksgiving, right? No matter if you give them that, right? They're still going to tell you, oh, that's weird that you don't want to come to Thanksgiving, right? No matter if you tell them, hey, it's the remembrance of slaughtering of indigenous Native Americans, right? It's the land grab, right? If we start going into all the things that was done to our people, they don't want to hear none of that. They don't want to hear that. But they're quick to remind you, oh, I got Native American in my family, right? They're quick to remind you about that type of stuff when it comes to unnecessary things, right? But when it comes to doing what's thus say the Lord, now that becomes a problem, right? That becomes a problem, right? They show all the movies with the people throwing the turkeys out to the homeless and the less fortunate. How the homeless people gonna cook them turkeys? How they gonna clean them? How they gonna get the stuff out the inside, right? What does that turkey even represent? That carving of the turkey is a representation of the bodies of the natives that was actually cut up. So, 2 Chronicles. That's not really what my class is in regards to. We do question and Q&As on Sunday, but I'll take a quick peek at it for you. Take a quick peek. I'll go ahead and get into my class. All right. Shalom. Everybody coming into the chat. What was that? Was there a particular question that you had in regards to the 2 Chronicles 6 and 32? And this was Solomon's prayer during the actual dedication of the temple, right? Do you remember David had too much blood on his hands, so the Most High chose Solomon to actually build that temple, right? Let's see here. So I'm gonna read it real quick. Just go over it real quick with you because it's a very simple breakdown, right? 2 Chronicles chapter 6, 32 and 33. It says, moreover, concerning the stranger, which is not of thy people Israel, but is come from far country, for thy great name's sake, and thy mighty hand, and thy stretched out arm, if they come and pray in this house, then hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, that all people of the earth may know the name and fear thee, as doth thy people Israel, and may know that the house which I have built is called by thy name. Right? So your question is in regards to what's your question? I read the scripture. What would you want to go into? Because that has a little bit to unpack on it. Because as we know, this is talking about one group of people, right? Because when you look at what verse 12 says, it says, and he stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of all the congregation of Israel and spread forth his hands, right? So if you're asking, what does that mean in regards to the stranger? You have Israelites that, and I'll give you an example, since mankind sin against God should not come. No, it was not given to all mankind, right? If you recall when the Tower of Babel happened, everybody was speaking Hebrew or Paleo-Hebrew at one point. Then that turned into them speaking the nation's tongue that they belonged to. Moabites were speaking Chinese, right? Amorites were speaking Japanese, right? They were given their gods which they serve. We were given on that's, and you know what? This question is perfect for this class. It is explaining why we were not supposed to deal with the other nations. How many times in the Bible have you seen the Most High having to separate us from the heathen nations? But as a punishment, he scattered us over the heathen nations because not everybody wanted to actually go against the Most High, just like it is today. We have people who don't care about celebrating Thanksgiving or Black Friday or Christmas or any of these actual days, right? So if we look at, right, if we look at this situation, we use mankind, you're trying to broaden the statement, right? But at the end of the day, heathens couldn't even go into our temple. So that's number one. If he's sitting out here telling you, look, a heathen's not even welcome in the temple. If you go into, remember the story of where I think Moses was bringing somebody into the temple that wasn't supposed to be there. It didn't go too well for him, right? Salvation isn't for all mankind because the scriptures tell you in situations like Revelations 13, right? Israel was not scattered at this time. We were scattered numerous times, Why do you think they had to travel to come to worship at this temple? We were still scattered because the only person that could bring us back, everybody back together, is Christ. We're still scattered. There's Israelites that's in China, right? I was born in Germany. My dad was in the military. So if they decided to stay at that garrison in Germany, I would have been living in Germany. But if I would have found out about the truth, I'm still an Israelite, all right? By way of my father. Shalom, Akwaf Hannah, and Shalom, Yakal, right? Chosen Gadai. I still would have been living in that country, right? Citizenship does not overrule your nationality. When Chinese people come into the country, right? They're still Chinese. They don't be like, I'm Chinese American. They say, I'm Chinese. They're not going to add on to that. I think that's where the confusion comes in, right? So were we in captivity during that time? Not everybody, right? But you have to think about, what tribe was Solomon from? Judah, Southern Kingdom, right? That's the reason why they had to actually do that. The nation of Israel was split under Solomon's kingship. Yes, those that was still there, but everybody wasn't brought back together. At that point, they were still scattered. That's the thing where you have the grace. If you're scattered somewhere, you have no idea that they're meeting somewhere, then how do you meet with them, right? How do you meet with them? That's where you have to ask that scenario, right? Because when you go back, even up into verse 6, it says, "But I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and have chosen David to be over my people Israel," right? Again, when you read 5, right? Think about this. Since the day that I brought forth my people, right? Not the whole world, my people, right? Out of the land of Egypt. That's a whole nother nation. I chose no city among all the tribes of Israel to build a house in, that my name might be there. Neither chose I any man to be a ruler over my people Israel. I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people. Right? So again, we have to look at what the Most High decided to do. He says he's going to save who he wants to save. Now, let me ask you, what nation of people are you from, sir? What is your father's ethnicity? I am a Benjamite by the way of my father's father, which were all Bahamians, right? Under the West Indies, right? It's not just Jamaica. You have a lot of places in the West Indies. You have Jamaica, you have Bahamas, you have Trinidad, Virgin Islands, and the list goes on, right? So we have to unpack this scenario in regards to, if the Most High, because you got to really ask yourself, if the Lord's saying he's only saving his people, what's motivating you to want to save everybody? What's motivating for you to go outside of what the Most High chose as his request, chose as his final answer, to want to change that? Because it doesn't work that way, right? Think about what Abraham said, Lord, if there's just 4 or 5 righteous people in there, will you not destroy all of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? If it's this many people, it's just 20. If it's 10, if it's 1. The whole thing is guess what? He was only looking to save those people that was doing righteousness. What's righteousness? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Well, let's go ahead and get into the class, right? If you're looking for more in-depth, breakdown, I believe tomorrow they may be doing, let's see here, do you wish the second level? That's a very broad question. I can't wish. There's no wishing in the Bible, right? That's what you have to understand, right? You tap me. I guess that's bothering you. I don't have to wish death on anybody, because guess what? The Most High is going to destroy who he wants to destroy. That's completely up to him, right? Do I pray for the redemption, right, of my people? Yes. Do I pray for what has been done to our people to be given back to those who have done it? Yes, because the Most High says he's going to do it. He's a just Father, right? You watch us go through so much inconvenience, so much forcing for our people to go into sin. You have to really ask yourself, why wouldn't you want him to do exactly what he said he's going to do? Revelations 9 and 10 tells you, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, right? So he who taketh into captivity must go into captivity. Those things have to be done, right? It has to be done. There's no way for me to say, oh, well, no, Lord, yeah, even though they did it, don't do it. If that's what the Most High said do, we're going to do it. He said, put fringes on your clothes, we're going to do it, right? He says, men wear a beard, wear a beard. Guess what? I got alopecia. So most people say, well, where's your beard? I have spiritual beard. Each and every little hair that's growing out of my face, the way that it comes in, I don't touch it. I've never put a razor to my face. Don't have eyebrows, whatever hair is growing in anywhere. I don't put nothing to it. I just wear it as is, right? Because guess what? I would prefer to have my beard, and I would have my beard as long as Aaron wears his beard, Lord's willing, right? But let's really look at, right? And I'm glad that you had that question, right? Because again, Black Friday, be not turned away, right? Be not turned away. We're going into this Fervent Friday lesson, right? 1 Corinthians 15 and 34, right? Now that's what we're starting out at. 1 Corinthians 15 and 34, and it reads, awake to righteousness, right? And sin not. For some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame, right? So we got to look at these scenarios, right? He says, speak that to his shame, right? Shalom, Moses, the messenger. Good to see you, King, right? Good to see you, right? He says he's speaking this. He's telling us to awake to righteousness, right? He's telling us to wake up to righteousness and sin and not sin. How hard is it not to sin? I mean, it's really easier than we can imagine if we stay focused on the Lord. Will we be in situations where the Most High wants to see where your level of restraint is? Yes, right. Well, unfortunately, like I told you, this class, I answered your one question. This class isn't set up for Q&A. If I have a little bit of time at the end, I'll go ahead and look that over, right? That's all because you want me to read 8 verses, right? You want me to read 8 verses, and that's not the way that this lesson plan was set up, unfortunately, right? But hopefully, in the spirit that the Most High answers the question. But I asked you a question that you did not answer, right? I said, what is your ethnicity based on your fathers in their ethnicity, right? Are you Native American, Indigenous Latino, right? So-called Negro? Where does your people group come from, sir? That's all I'm asking, all right? You asked me a question, I went over it, I'm asking you a question. That's all, right? What's fair is fair. So again, it says, awake to righteousness and sin not. It's telling us to do something, right? It wants you to awake to the righteousness. So if you know that you can do better as a people, do better. Hey, I can't come to Thanksgiving. Hey, I can't come. Sorry. The Lord doesn't have me to celebrate that. That holiday is wicked. Oh, well, it's wicked. We could have dinner at this magnitude anytime if we really want to. We can get the family together and have that kind of dinner. We do it every month, right? I may be Benjamin or Levi or Judah. That's three different people groups, right? Do you know your grandfathers, right? If you know your grandfather, or you know your great-great-grandfather, then you should know what your father's ethnicity is, right? I feel that every adult should know or should want to know what tribe they come from, because these things are important, right? That's why in the book of Tobit was asking, hey, what tribe you from? He needed to know who he was dealing with before he got out there to deal with him. And that's nothing but a fair question. That's fair as it can get when it comes to what we believe in, right? But it says, for some have not the knowledge of the Most High, right? So he's letting us know up front, some of us not going to have the knowledge of the Most High. And he says, I speak this to your shame. And it's a shame if you don't have the knowledge of the Most High, right? That's a shameful thing, to not know your tribe, where you're from, who you're from, right? My rib, she thought she was from the tribe of Judah. We had to do some investigating. We had to get to the bottom of it, right? Come to find out, she's from the tribe of Ephraim, right? So-called Puerto Rican. But all praise to the Most High that he revealed that through praying and crying out to the Lord. He decided to reveal that. And that's important, because them 12 gates with them 12 angels, the names of the children of Israel written on them. You got to know what gate you're going into, right? We got to know who we're dealing with, right? In regards to it. Because for so long, we took the easy way out. And we don't care to wonder who do we, what tribe we belong to, our people group, what they went through, what they experienced. These are the things you need to know, right? These are the things you need to know, right? All right, let's keep going. We're going over and get a precept, because he said, speak this to your shame, right? Because, I would be ashamed if I didn't know, right? I would be ashamed. Going to Romans 1:28. And it says, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, right? Because some people didn't want to do that, right? Didn't want to do that. You can't be ashamed of the righteousness, right? You can't be ashamed of the gospel, right? You can't. And then you expect the Most High to just come swoop on down and just get off his throne for you. He's not doing that. He's sending back Christ. And Christ ain't happy, because he had to get nailed to the cross and treated in the worst way for people who don't care. They don't care. I mean, how do you say that you love Christ? Know that he was mutilated, sopped on, hit with rocks, spit on, talked to in the worst way, and all he was doing was out here healing people, saying, just don't tell nobody. Just don't tell nobody. You got your faith, all praises, you're healed by the power of the Most High through him, right? Hey, just do this. Don't sin anymore. Simple requests, but our people want to be healed. Our people want to be blessed, and we can't even keep the simple requests. The Bible tells us keep the commandments and live, right? Keep the commandments and live. So you got to know if you're West Indian. You got to know if you're a so-called Negro. You got to know if you're a so-called Haitian, right? As he says, he's maybe you pick 3 different tribes of the Southern Kingdom. So it's up to you, before you worry about anything else in the Bible, right? Or saving mankind, you got to at least know what tribe you're from, right? Are you even claiming to be an Israelite? These things are important. You can go through, we got to save man, because you're not Superman. Christ said he coming back for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? You got to hope that you're involved in that. You got to hope that you're one of the 12 tribes on the 12 gates. You got to make sure your spirit bears witness. But if you are questioning the most supreme entity ever to exist, right? That created the universe, the sun, the moon, the stars. If you're questioning his decision and his authority to save who he wants to save, gotta ask yourself, what am I doing? Gotta ask yourself, what am I doing at this point, right? Because it gets like that. It gets exactly like that. The scriptures tell you up front in this order. That's why I got this precept. It says, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, wanting to save everybody. That's a reprobate mind, right? Wanting to do, thus say yourself. That's a reprobate mind, right? Following after the same things you denounce through Christianity, right? The same things that you're like, hey, I'm not supposed to be eating pork and this, that. Well, hey, I read this scripture. Been in the truth, getting dragged right back out, right? Being turned away, right? You don't want to be turned away, but it's easy to be turned away. It's very easy to be turned away, right? And it says to do those things which are not convenient. Convenient to who? Convenient to who? The Most High said, keep the commandments to live. That's very convenient, right? But having a reprobate mind because you don't want to retain the knowledge of the Most High. What's the knowledge of the Most High? Keeping the commandments and live, right? That's why God had to give them over to a reprobate mind. That's why a lot of our people want to save the heathen nations regardless of what happened, right? You still, until you can answer your question, the question I asked you, I don't want a maybe. I want a definite answer, because if you got all these questions that you would assume are deep or would make us stumble or things of that nature, my question is, right, are you a Hebrew Israelite? And if so, right, what tribe are you from? I'm going to keep asking you the same question. Because the way that you word your question, why is the greatest Hebrew Israelite of all time carrying the title of the last Adam, right? Again, you want us to answer questions, I need questions answered as well, right? It's only fair we're having a dialogue, right? It's only fair because guess what? If you're not retaining God and your knowledge, right? If you're not retaining the knowledge of the Most High, what do answering any of those questions do for you to get you into the kingdom? And it's a very simple answer. It's just in regards to you reading it. Now, again, if you're not keeping the commandments of the Most High as He's requested you to do it, it's going to be a stumbling block for you. A lot of things are not going to make sense, right? Are you an Israelite? That's all I'm asking. Are you an Israelite? Very simple question. Understanding is more than priceless because you just don't want to be a hearer of the word. You want to be a doer of the word, as the scripture says, right? So you're saying, yes, you're an Israelite, right? But you're having issues in knowing what tribe you're from. And that was one of the most important things for me to have an understanding of being an Israelite. I needed to know what tribe I was from. So as I read through our history book, the Bible, the Apocrypha, I could see what my people were going through, right? Most High put on my spirit the name of Ehud, right? He was a Benjamite that had to do something very important for the Most High, right? Our people was in captivity under the king of Moab. Most High sent Ehud in to eliminate that problem and to free our people, right? Believe there was some northern kingdom that was with Ehud when he did that. And hey, they got him up out of there, right? By the grace of the Most High. Because you got to make sure that the Most High isn't giving you over to a reprobate mind, right? To do those things which are not convenient to what the Most High wants to do for you, right? Because we can't be turned away. It's real easy to be turned away, right? Galatians 4 and 8. Galatians 4 and 8. It says, howbeit, right? Then, when ye knew not God, ye did service unto them which by nature are no gods, right? The whole nation of Israel, we were supposed to, right? So let me ask you, did you celebrate Thanksgiving since you've been an Israelite? Like a willful celebration? I mean, just be honest. That's the best thing to do, is to be honest when it comes to things. And it says, howbeit then, when ye knew not God, ye did service unto them, right? And who is the them? Things made of man, right? So you kept Thanksgiving. So you kept Thanksgiving yesterday, is what I'm asking. Did you keep it yesterday? Did you have your family gather at your house? You guys carved the turkey, had the cranberry, the stuffing. Did you do that yesterday, Brother Harmon? I don't want to see, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. And it's easier to just put you, okay, so how long have you been an Israelite is my question, right? As we got to ask, it says, how be it then, when ye knew not God, right? Because it's telling you up front, if we're God's children, why are we not doing what God commanded of us to do, right? Why are we not doing that? And it says, but then, when ye knew not God, ye did service unto them which by nature are no gods, right? That's the service that is referring to right there. These services, doing things they call it the American way, right? The nation's holiday, right? We're going to close everything to celebrate something that wasn't done, right? You're thankful, right? So that was the reason why you kept Thanksgiving with your family, because you're thankful. So that's why I asked you why, or not why, excuse me, Salakia. How many years have you been an Israelite? That's a good question. How many years have you been a Israelite? Because we want to look at this again. We want to break this all the way down, right? Because if we're saying that we are children of the Most High God, right? Of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to win them to Christ, all right. Okay. You do understand that it's not, we don't choose the Most High. We don't choose Christ, right? Christ and the Most High chooses us. So unfortunately, you can't win them to Christ, as you would imagine, like as the statement as you put. You can't win them to Christ. And I'm explaining to you why. Because if the Most High does not want your family members, so it says 1 out of a household, 2 out of a city will be saved, right? If he doesn't want them and he wants you, then the way that you would help them to have a better understanding, right? Or planting that seed is by letting your light shine. Because what's going to happen is let's say they do become one of them that, committed Thanksgiving with you guys yesterday, happens to come into the understanding of the truth. And they realize that Thanksgiving was a wicked holiday to the same people that's supposed to be of the nations that you come from, right? Because when we were on those slave plantations, we didn't get to celebrate no Thanksgiving, right? We didn't. They gave us abominable foods, right? Foods that were sacrificed to gods that were not of our people. A lot of pork, a lot of entrails, a lot of things that we're not supposed to even eat or touch. And to this day, people still eat chitlins. They still got the big ham on the table, right? Those things, how was that winning them to Christ? Christ just says you can't touch swine's flesh. Those hiding behind the tree, eating a mouse and the swine's flesh, they're going to be utterly destroyed. How would that win them to Christ if that's what y'all celebrating? The celebration of the elimination and the theft of land from your people. How does that win them to Christ? You think Christ is happy about that? Think about it. I want y'all to really think about this. You don't want to be turned away. This is how you get turned away right there, right? Because what ended up happening is what the scripture says. When ye knew not God, right, and kept Thanksgiving, you did services unto them which by nature are no gods, right? So you basically kept what they call America's holiday. Native Americans wasn't doing that. They weren't doing that. So how does that win them to Christ. That upsets you. Christ was already a steward. You remember how he dealt with the disciples. You remember how he spoke to people, right? He was never a steward man. He was always a steward, right? Meaning he knew he had his father's business to do. He was of the same characteristics of his father. That's the main reason why he had to come down to bring us grace and mercy, because we was getting put to death for a lot of different things, right? Children was getting stoned, right? Remember the little child that they called a lunatic? Kept throwing himself in the fire and doing all that weird stuff. Guess what? Had to stone him. Had to get him out of there, all right? Can't keep that around the congregation. Can't keep that around the camp, because guess what? The other children, right? The dietary law was in full effect, right? But again, think about what you just did. You did a service unto them which by nature are no gods, right? The pilgrims showed up. They lied about being lost. They gave out smallpox and disease-filled blankets to your people, because you say you're Israelite, to the natives, which was Gad and Reuben, right? Gave that out knowing people, dead people who died of sickness was wrapped in these same things. They wanted to get rid of it. What did they do? They gave it to the natives, right? Started killing them off. Then what did they do after that? They started to do a land grab, right? Oh, we just want this little bit of area here. We're not going to do anything. How are we celebrating that? You can have a meal with your family on New Moon, right? Do you keep the new moon feast days? Do you keep the Sabbaths? Right? Are you doing that as an Israelite? Because you could definitely win them to Christ by doing a Sabbath lunch, right? Bringing up a class, letting the class play in the background instead of music of the world playing in the background, right? Or the football game turned up too loud on the TV, turn up some scriptures in regards to keeping the law, statutes, commandments. Let the Spirit of the Lord dwell in your house, right? Let that happen. But again, these are the things that actually turn our people away, right? I see that they messing with our number count. There's people in here, but it says only one person is watching. But hey, this is the whole thing of what the scripture says, unto them, the service unto them, right? Which by nature are no gods. Yeah, I can mess with their count of how many people are actually watching, right? I can mess with their numbers of how many people are even able to click the like button, right? I can freeze their chat, right? They love to do that, right? There's way more than just 3 people watching, but it's okay. This is the reason why we can't be turned away, right? Because they're no gods. Just because they can mess with something, that doesn't make them a god, right? Deuteronomy 29:17, right? Doesn't make them a god. It doesn't give them the power they assume that they have. It makes them feel, look what okay, no problem. You got that, right? When Christ comes back, we're going to see who then, right? Deuteronomy 29:17, right? And it says, ye have seen their abominations. Celebrating that Thanksgiving is their abominations. When they said that they carve the body of the Native Americans, that was the turkey, right? The cranberry sauce was the blood that they spilt, right? These are their words. These are in their documented books, right? The stuffing was the infants pulled from the woman's body, right? These are the abominations. It says, and ye have seen their abominations. They show you in the movie, right? They give you Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown Christmas. They kind of water your brain down as a child to think that it's fun. Trace your hand, remember? Trace your hand, make the turkey, right? Indoctrinating you as a child. Oh, that's fun, right? Idols should not be anything to you. But what you did when you celebrated Thanksgiving is you celebrated the spirit of the death, the remembrance of the slaughter of your own people, right? Now you kept an idol, right? You said the dietary law was in effect. You got to think about that, right? This is why the Most High said, I will hate your feast days. right? He hated that because you kept it on a day in remembrance of his children being unlawfully eliminated by a nation that was brought as swift as an eagle, right? We're supposed to look upon that as a remembrance to do what the Most High say do, not to celebrate being thankful. You can be thankful every day you wake up if you give the Most High the first hour of your day, the first breath out of your body. That shows your thankfulness, right? If you pray during the times of oblation, as the scriptures say, right? If you make your body a living sacrifice unto the Most High, this is how you please the Lord, as well as keeping those commandments, which come first. Fasting, praying, giving alms, and that doesn't just mean money. Alms, right? Doing the will of the Lord. These things are pleasing to the Lord. Having faith that if you do so, then you may be counted worthy, right? Again, Deuteronomy 29 and 17, it says, and ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone. Christmas coming up. Most people gonna have a Christmas tree in their house, right? They're gonna have a Christmas tree. They're gonna get presents for their grandbabies, right? And it says silver and gold, which are among them, right? Because they made their idols. Nebuchadnezzar made his idol out of gold. A gold statue. He told the three holy children, right? Hey, when y'all hear the music play, y'all got to get down and bow down. If y'all don't do that, I'm going to put you in the furnace. And they was waiting to see them do that. And hey, Nashak, Meshach, and Abednego said, we ain't doing that. Put them in the furnace, turn it up 7 times hotter than it is, right? These are their abominations. Eat the pork, right? Their idols, wood and stone. Our people worship the cross, right? And our people, unfortunately, worship the cobblestone. All of that stuff can't do nothing for you. No matter where you go in the world, you're still going to be treated as you are treated here in the United States. No matter where you go, right? You're going to get treated the same, right? It says silver and gold, which are among them, right? Don't worship any of this, right? The Most High said he'll put a necklace on us, a bracelet on our wrists, rings on our fingers, earrings in our ears, right? He said he would do that, right? But I'm not going to worship. Gold chain, bring me good price. No, that don't work. Because if that was the case, a lot of our people wouldn't be in the situation that they're in, right? The price of gold, people wouldn't even be wanting to sell gold. They would be wanting to hoard it for themselves if it had some kind of superpower, right? We got to really look at what's going on. Isaiah 37 and 19. Let's get a little bit more context in regards to, we've seen the abomination of their idols. Who's the there? Let's get some understanding on who the there is, right? The book of Isaiah, chapter 37 and 19, and have cast their gods into the fire, right? Who? The kings of Assyria, because we was going through something at that time, right? It says, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, craftsmanship, right? Wood and stone, right? Therefore, they have destroyed them, right? So we got to look at it. We got to look at it, because look at verse 20. It says, now therefore, O Lord our God, save us from his hand, that all the kingdom of the earth may know that thou art the Lord, even thou only, right? Because they weren't celebrating, right? They weren't celebrating. Oh, they're trying to freeze up the chat, I see, right? Shalom, more 09, right? You put not me, right? Not sure what you're referring to with the not me, right? But hey, no problem. We're going to keep it pushing, right? We got to look at, what was Isaiah quoting this from, right? He says, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore, they have destroyed them. People have all types of things made out of wood craftsmanship, stone craftsmanship, all types of statues and things in their house. Oh, that looks nice. That's an idol, right? That looks nice. That could be an idol. You got to be very careful what you bring into your domain, right? Isaiah was quoting the statutes of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, right? That's what Isaiah was quoting. He was quoting the statutes. I'm going to prove it. The book of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 27, right? And this is what I was saying to you earlier in regards, right? Shalom, mercy is over patriots, right? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, I'm going to read 27 for clarity going into 28, right? 27 and then 28. It says, the Lord shall scatter you among the nations. This is what I was telling you about earlier, being scattered among the nations, right? And ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whether the Lord shall lead you. You know why we just want to go through that? Because we was being extorted, or like how you exhort something, right? Forgive my Caribbean pronunciation at times. Sounds a little different. We're supposed to be being exhorted to obedience, the obedience of the Lord, right? We have to make sure that we have an understanding. Why were we scattered? Were we obedient? Were we disobedient? Did we do things of the other nations? Did we keep Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July? Did we do that? Okay, gotta ask yourself, right? Why were we scattered, right? Think about it when you got children. They just keep fighting and this and that. My son and my daughter, they getting into it a lot. Hey, you stay in the room, you come out here in the living room, sit to the table. We're not going to have that back and forth. You have to separate them, right? It's like you have to scatter them. Give them opportunity to get that spirit off of them, right? Verse 28, it says, and there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell, right? This is the reason why when we were in captivity, they had them setting up Christmas trees during Jeremiah's time, right? And if they came by the window, if the soldiers came by the window and peeked in your house and you didn't have gifts and a presents in there, they're going to come back and slaughter you in the middle of the night, right? Leave your body there for people to find so they can say, oh, you didn't serve that God. You didn't serve the God, right? Because you didn't serve it, it was death. You got slaughtered. That made them celebrate those heathen holidays in fear, right? That's what it did, right? God. But you had Thanksgiving, though, right? You had Thanksgiving, Mr. Harmon. You said you were winning your family over for Christ, but really you upset Christ if you know that he ain't going for that. When did Christ celebrate Thanksgiving? Where did he celebrate that? I know he celebrated Feast of Dedications, Passover, first fruits, right? He celebrated the new moon, right? The Day of Atonement, right? He celebrated all those things, but where did he celebrate Thanksgiving at? I'll wait. When did he celebrate the Thanksgiving? Because the thing is when you're celebrating these things, you're serving the gods. You're serving the work of men's hands, right? The work of men's hands, wood and stone, which is now has been in your mind. If you don't celebrate it, your family going to look at you some kind of way. Oh, well, right? Oh, well, they look at you that way because the Most High may not want them. And if you're willing to do what Lot's wife did and look back on that, you may be that memorial, that pillar of salt, right? It says these actual works of men's hands, they could neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell, but they will lead you to believe that they can. Think about how they have the Christmas songs of Santa Claus. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. You're trying to put Santa Claus on the level of the Most High, right? He's just everywhere at once. He knows who's good and who's bad, right? He's coming down the chimney. He has to sneak into your house like a thief. You're trying to take different qualities from the Bible and make it into Santa Claus. When you think about it, it says his name is Saint Nick, right? If you've ever looked at children's movie, and they probably cleaned this up, it says Santa with the N period. And you put all those words together, you get SANTAN, spells Satan, right? That's what it is. Be not turned away. That's what's happening. I'm just doing it for the children. Be not turned away. I'm just doing it for my family. Be not turned away. That's the problem that a lot of our people, they get turned away and they don't realize you turned away, right? Lot's wife turned back and paid the price with her life. Why would you want to do that, right? Why would you want to? It's a sin to be thankful. Let me explain to you again that this is where I think you're having a disconnection at. Who said it's a sin to be thankful, right? Let's go over to Exodus, right? Go to Exodus 34. Why would it be a sin to be thankful, right? When you have the opportunity to be thankful every morning when you wake up by giving the Most High your first breath, right? You have a thankfulness over any meal that you eat, before and after, to pray and thank him for that food, right? You can pray to him at noontime. Thank you to see a noon today, right? 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, throwing these oblations up, right? But that's your opportunity to be thankful right there. Not, can you please pass the collard greens? Please give me the macaroni. Thankful for what? What are you thankful for? Our people, were they thankful when they were in slavery? Oh, I'm thankful that my child got beaten halfway to death yesterday because he got blood on the cotton. I'm thankful that master took my wife into his quarters again for the 5th time this week, and his brother went in there this time with her as well, and she could barely walk when they dropped her back off. You're thankful for that? Because last thing I remember is our people weren't thankful being in captivity, especially the natives that were being slaughtered. The indigenous Latinos were being slaughtered. Our people who were being worked to death, then slaughtered, right? It was against the law for them to be able to read, but then they're going to give them freedom papers. And if they could read those, they would probably get killed right on the spot. That's something to be thankful for, right? Black Friday, when you got your, hey, you may woke up and said, where's my children? Oh, they sending them down to Mississippi with Master Johnson. Where's my wife? Oh, well, they Master so-and-so had a kind eye towards her, and now she's gone to live with him in Tennessee. What? What's to be thankful for about that, right? That's what you have to exercise. What are you really being thankful for, right? Exodus 34:16, and it says, and take our daughters unto thy sons, right? And their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods. We're not supposed to be dealing with other nations. Can't you see the mercy of God on Israel, even in our slavery? Martin Luther King didn't show me my transgressions, but the Lord had him doing those things, right? What did Martin Luther King do? He regretted his actions. He says, I feel that I brought my people into a burning house. Segregation, we was well off. The black dollar was doing great in our communities, right? Now our money doesn't go anywhere. Now we can chalk it up to inflation. We didn't have welfare back then. We didn't need that. Our women worked and had education. Our children had things that were pleasing of a family, right? Our family had values, right? When you bring up Martin Luther King, he failed. Malcolm X, he failed. All of them failed, and the Most High took them out of there, right? Why do you ever think that the heathen nation would idolize somebody that they didn't have in pocket? Think about that. They don't even want you to know that Christ is black. They give you a white Christ. But, we got Martin Luther King Day. Where's Martin Luther King Street at in every neighborhood? I never found a Martin Luther King Boulevard in a Edomite neighborhood or a Ishmaelite neighborhood or Hamite neighborhood. No, Martin Luther King is in the worst of the worst areas. Malcolm X Boulevard is in the worst of the worst areas. All these little streets that they give us are in the worst areas they could possibly be. Prostitution, drug dealing, bloodshed. What are we being thankful for, right? We got to really look at that. The Most High gave us mercy by giving us his law, statutes, and commandments and said, keep my commandments and live, because you were dead before that. So why you want to keep the traditions of man if he's saying, keep my commandments and live? You got to really think about that. He didn't give you no other. He didn't say keep Thanksgiving and be thankful. Never said that. And David carved a Thanksgiving turkey. No, he didn't do that. Right? Those people that came and slaughtered our people had a very satanic symbolism. But after everything that people endure on Thanksgiving, it's in their books, it's in their movies. But you're going to say, oh, well, that's just a movie. Oh, that's just a book, right? No problem, right? They can tell you right to your face that they're in sin. But guess what? You're going to end up allowing your family, your people, to be turned away, right? Because it says you don't want to take their daughters unto thy sons. But it's going to be okay because, hey, guess what? You believe that the Most High is coming or sending his son back to save everybody, right? Those people who don't want nothing to do with the Most High or his ways or his son will be destroyed. That's why we have 2/3 of our people who are not going to make it, right? This is the reason why he said, don't let your sons go deal with the daughters of the other nations. Don't let your daughters go with the sons of the other nations, right? But it told you, it says, and go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods, right? Your son come home with a, now he's keeping Chinese New Year, right? Now he's doing their traditions. He's eating with chopsticks, and I'm trying to be cultured for my wife's sake, right? You think the Most High is happy with that? No, he's not. Especially if he knows that that child is from the tribe of Naphtali, or the tribe of Ephraim, or the tribe of Manasseh, or the tribe of Levi. But you're around here trying to culture yourself with the ways of the heathens. You start serving their gods. You're getting a little incense and you're doing like this and you put it in the sand in front of the little idol. Come pray with me, right? That's exactly what you're going to be led away. This is what happens when you start to follow the philosophies of this world. You're going to be led away. No different than this example right here, right? Because in verse 17, it says, thou shalt make thee no molten gods. But guess what? If you allow your children to deal that way, they're going to be out here serving other gods, right? Money, fame, popularity, right? They want a phone so bad. Why? They can take 1,000 selfies, making silly little faces. Oh, I'm gonna go viral on TikTok. I'm gonna make YouTube videos about this, that, and the other. All right. Hey, are you gonna celebrate the Sabbath? I don't feel so good today. I'm just gonna stay home. They start, and when they're home, they're TikToking it up. While you're out of their sight and they're out of your sight, and they know the door's locked to the house, and you're gone, you're not gonna be back for hours. They're TikToking it up. They're FaceTiming. They're taking pictures of themselves. That's not pleasing to the Lord, right? They're doing things, they're sacrificing unto other idols. They're making themselves an idol. They want to be seen. They want to be watched. They want to be liked, right? This is why they're telling us not to do this, right? This is why. Because, again, it tells us in Deuteronomy 7:4 not to do this. We're being told things over and over, right? The curses are upon us. This is what makes our hoods bad, right? The curses are upon us because we're not keeping the commandments. This is where, yeah, you're going to have the curses. This is how you identify that you are an Israelite, because the curses are over our people, right? But knowing that the curses are among us, who told you not to keep the commandments? Because why does the scripture tell you repeatedly, keep the commandments and live? Why did Christ tell you, keep the commandments and live? Be ye perfect like the Father, which is in heaven. How do you be ye perfect? Keep the commandments. How was Christ perfect? He kept the commandments. How was Job perfect? He kept the commandments. How was Noah looked at as perfect? Kept the commandments. All the people that was looked at as perfect kept the commandments. There was husbands and wives that kept the commandments. All of them, no problem, right? You think everybody wanted Christ on the cross? Nope. Do you think everybody wanted to not keep the laws of the Most High? Because who did the prophets have to go talk to? Who was Paul sent to talk to? Israelites that was either keeping the commandments or keeping the ways of the captivity that they were in. And you keeping Thanksgiving, you're keeping the ways of America and the Romans. That's the captivity that we're in currently, right? So you got to ask yourself, you have to really ask yourself, have you been turned away, right? Have you been turned away? Deuteronomy 7:4, for they will, right? Not maybe, for they will turn away thy son from following me, right? Have you been turned away from following the Most High? Because you want to keep Thanksgiving, you think that that's winning your family over to Christ? It's not, right? You've been turned away. Turn back to the Most High is what you need to do, right? It says that they may serve other gods. You don't think you're serving other gods when you're keeping that Thanksgiving spirit? Why do you think they call it the Thanksgiving spirit? Because you're serving another God, right? They got it on a specific day that they keep every year. It does not change. They give it a parade with balloons and all this other stuff. Then the next day they say, well, we got Indigenous people appreciation day. How can you appreciate people who the day before you did a remembrance of a great slaughter and sadness and anguish brought to their people? I don't even like spending $20 bills that has Andrew Jackson's face on it. Y'all don't remember the Trail of Tears? I got a lot of Native American people in my family, right? On my mother's side. I'm not with that. People that know me personally know that I do not like the month of November at all. I'm not happy about the month of November. Anytime that it comes, I'm never in a good mood. And I always wonder why. And now the Most High show me this is why. Because you can be angry and sin not, right? I hate the oppression that was done to my people, right? Because oppression makes a wise man mad, right? We got to be wise, right? We got to be wise, because let's read the rest of 4. It says, so will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. Because when you serve those other gods, you're being destroyed. You can be destroyed suddenly out of nowhere because those other gods are not gods, right? You're being turned away to believe in something that does not exist over something that does exist, and it shows you every day. The Most High show what other God in any of the stories of any of the other heathen nations bring the sun up? Not Buddha, not Allah, not Krishna, not Vishnu. None of them have accounts of bringing up the sun or the moon or bringing out the stars or creating the earth. None of them. None of them. It's plagiarism, right? Plagiarism on the Most High. Because guess what? This is how they were turned away. This is the reason why we were warned in regards to this. It says, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Let's get an example of that. Let's go over to 1 Kings 11, right? 1 Kings 11. We're going to get an example because you brought this person up earlier, right? Big Khan, Moses, that does represent the Indian Removal Act. Yeah, Trail of Tears, right? Trail of Tears. We go into 1 Kings 11:2, right? This is where Solomon fell into this warning of Deuteronomy 7:4, right? And it reads, I'm going to read verse 1. It says, but King Solomon loved many strange women together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Chinese, Amorites, Japanese, Edomites, white women, Zidonians, and Hittites, right? Which were like Hamites. Verse 2, it says, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, where did they say it? Deuteronomy 7:4, right? Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Right? His heart wasn't perfect with the Lord at that point, right? They turned away his life. They turned away his heart. The scriptures warned, they gave a pre-warning. So one of the most intelligent men was able to be given all the knowledge and wisdom and understanding, still was able to be drawn into idolatry. Who's smarter than Solomon among our people now? I'm not sure, right? But if he was able to be drawn into this by not heeding the warning and ended up doing what he wanted to do, guess what? Any of us can, right? Any of us can. Do you believe that's what it was? Or because at the end of the day, he kept telling everybody, vanity, vanity, everything is vanity, right? Why do you think he was saying that? Why do you think he was saying that? Solomon had all the spices, the gold, the chariots, all of these things, right? But the thing is he loved many strange women because he was turned away versus refusing it. It's not, see, when we use the word lust, that's not, you think you just compare it to sexual appetites. No. The lust was in just having more, right? Just the want for more, the hunger for more, right? You want to have all the gold, all the silver. Because after a while, that puts a spirit on you, right? That puts a spirit on you to not be content with what you have. You're always searching for more, right? That lust for more is over anything. Any sexual appetite, any monetary appetite, it's just the lust for more, right? Because that more spirit, you gotta have more. You gotta have more. You gotta have more. Then you start hoarding things, right? And if you ever seen the short hoarders, when it comes time to have to clean those places up, you got to deal face to face with that. My mom had a hoarding spirit on her, right? When it came time to clean up a lot of stuff, happy about that, right? She wasn't happy about that at all, right? Because the thing is they turned away. That's why this class is called Be Not Turned Away. You don't want to be turned away. Solomon was turned away, right? Who's to say you can't be turned? Now you celebrating Thanksgiving. Guess what? You might mess around and Shalom. Shalom, Abraham. Good to see you, King, right? See, everything starts in the mind. Yeah, just like you celebrated Thanksgiving, right? Brother Harmon Sr., right? You celebrated Thanksgiving. It started in your mind. I'm going to celebrate. If you say you're an Israelite, then you know we don't celebrate this stuff. But yet you celebrated it anyway. It started in your mind. You went lusting after the way of the world, assuming that you're satisfying your family. They didn't get any closer to the Lord because the Lord didn't see any of that. He didn't smell any of the foods. He didn't listen to your prayer, any of that, because that's sin in his eyes because you're keeping the ways of the world, right? As I ask you, how many Passovers have you kept, right? How many new moons do you keep? New moon coming up this weekend, matter of fact, right? Are you aware of how to keep it? Are you going to be keeping the Feast of Dedication? Do you keep Passover? Do you keep Tabernacles? Do you keep the high holy days which you're commanded? 3 times a year you're commanded to be in a holy convocation, not just, I'm meeting with no, holy convocation. I'm just meeting with my family. No, if you know that there's other Israelite congregations in the area, it's your job to seek them out. Just like it was our job to seek out how to get to Jerusalem to celebrate those high holy days, our ancestors had to do it. No matter they had to walk for 2 weeks, no matter how long they had to travel, they going back to Jerusalem to celebrate that, right? Think about when they took Christ and he was in the temple, right? I believe they were celebrating Passover. And they looked back and realized Christ wasn't with them. And Mary and Joseph had to go back and found him right there at the temple, right? He was going to keep those commandments, right? Maybe they wanted to leave a little early. Who knows? I don't know. Not trying to add to the word. But the thing is, Christ decided he was staying. He was going to keep all the days that's commanded in our commandments, right? The Most High has given us the breakdown of all his high holy days and feast days. It's up to you to keep it. Now, if you don't want to keep it, hey. And Jesus was the friend of sinners. He went to their wedding and the house for dinner. What scripture says that he went to a wedding? Right? Yes, he was out there dealing with our people, right, who were in sin, trying to bid them to the marriage. That was his job. That's why he saves. That's why he's the savior. It was up to him to basically come to those who want to be saved. He came and knocked at their door. And guess what? They let him into his heart and say, hey, I'm going to turn away from being a sinner and come back to the law, statutes, commandments. When he came to the disciples, right? I need to go bury my father. Let the dead bury the dead, right? Let the dead bury the dead. Because what happens is when you start to try to make justifications for your ways, right? This is what you're doing. Book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 33. Same thing Solomon did. And it reads, thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thy heart shall utter perverse things. Thanksgiving is okay. Christ went to weddings. Christ did this and that. You're not Christ. All right. Christ was going there for it. He was on a mission, right? Your mission is to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. You can't be like, oh, I got the same mission as Christ. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to keep these law, statutes, commandments, that part. But you wasn't sent down by the Most High from the right-hand side of the Most High coming to die on the cross. Because most people don't even want to get up and go to Sabbath class or do what's thus said the Lord, let alone want to carry a cross while you're getting spit on and things thrown at you and insulted and hit and slapped and all of that type of stuff. You're not even willing to get up and do the work of the Most High. How many people really want to go out to the street? It's cold. It's freezing out there. Put on a jacket. I'm out there on the street. It can be 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 40 degrees. Guess what? My head has to be exposed outside of, I can tie a mitri around my head, right? But my head can't be covered when the law, statutes, commandments coming out. This is out of respect for the Most High. What he's asking, right? My wife wears a head wrap even when she's not out and about. She never knows she got to throw up a prayer, right? Never know. You want to be in front of the Most High, completely submitted at all times. That's why we wear fringes. That's why our children wear fringes. If you want to take out the trash, hey, better have some fringes on. Better yet, if you already got them on, you ain't got to go put them on. Can't scramble for your fringe jacket. Most High decide to send his son back. He's coming back like a thief in the night. That means he's going to catch you off guard, right? Got to be on point. You got to be on point, right? Because guess what happens? Your heart shall utter perverse things. It's okay to keep Christmas for the kids. Easter, it's for the kids. I got them a little chocolate bunny, so what? My children know not to bring nothing home from school for any of these pagan holidays. They know that because they're aware now. They always want to ask my wife or myself, what's the ingredients in this? Can I have this or not? And most people may say, you might be over righteous. No, I want to be righteous. So if I know that the Most High has given me the intelligence, right? He's given me the wisdom. He's given me technology to look these things up. Why not look it up? Why be stubborn and say, oh, I'm not looking that up. I ain't got time for that. I got to do this. I want to do this, right? I'll go ahead and eat it. Do you find out I have pork in it? Oh, man, you can't eat that anymore. No, if you would have just took 5 minutes to look it up. My salvation is allergic to pork, right? I tell my family it all the time. Your salvation is allergic to these things that the Most High told us not to do, right? You don't want to end up trying to test out your grace period with the Most High. Because he may say, you know what? Their grace is longer than yours. Yours ain't long enough. I need to make you an example, right? One of the children an example, the wife, the husband an example, somebody in the household, the dog an example. To saying, hey, if you don't do what I say do, you're gonna be burying just like that. I'm gonna bury you just like I buried them, right? This is all mankind under the. Why did the great physician do these things? All mankind under sin, sickness, yes or no, because the first Adam. The Most High created us to be immortal, right? He wanted us to be immortal. He didn't bring forth. He didn't want to bring forth death. That wasn't pleasing to him to have to kill us off. He loved us. What's the point of wanting to kill off something you love, right? Think about it. You got a puppy that you raised from a puppy to a full dog, right? And your dog mess around and bite somebody. They tell you got to put the dog down. It's gonna be kind of, you don't want that. You don't want that for that dog. But if that dog would have been doing what it was supposed to do, it wouldn't be in that position. If we were doing what we were supposed to do, we wouldn't be in that position, right? Now we have to fight through the sins and we have to earn our way to heaven, right? We have to earn that, right? The light of the world, the salt of the earth. Now I'm a living sacrifice too. How are you a living sacrifice if you're keeping the ways of the world by having Thanksgiving? What was the sacrifice? The sacrifice would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna invite y'all over for a Sabbath lunch, right? Oh, this food ain't hot. Oh well, thus say the Lord. What's more pleasing? To please the flesh and the complaints and the murmuring, or just doing thus say the Lord and serving him with joyness and gladness and glee, right? Come on, we gotta ask yourself that. Let's go on over because the heart shall utter perverse things, right? Let's go over to Acts. Going to Acts 20, right? Let's see how the heart is bringing these perverse things. 20. We're going to Acts 20 and 30, right? This is where Paul met with some of these elders, right? And think about what he said. He goes, and I'm gonna read 29 because this really lets you know after Christ left, everybody went back to doing a lot of the same stuff they weren't supposed to be doing, right? Look at this situation right here. The book of Acts chapter 20, verse 29. We're going to start at 29 and read down to 30, get some clarity. It says, for I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Also, of your own selves shall men arise speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them, right? Therefore, watch. Gotta watch for these things, right? Gotta watch for these things because it told you, it says, that eye shall behold strange women and thine heart shall utter perverse things. Proverbs 23 and 33 is bringing us right into the warning that Paul was given in Acts 20 and 30, right? That's what I said. It says, also of your own selves shall men arise. He's telling them, hey, y'all elders are going to be out here doing wicked. As soon as I leave, y'all, yeah, you quiet now. But when I leave, y'all going to send some more. Same thing with Christ. As soon as Christ left, hey, the sinning commenced. When Moses went up there to get the commandments, oh, well, he gone there and make us a golden calf. The sins committed, right? That's the whole thing. That's why we kept going back into captivity, why we kept getting separated and scattered again, over and over and over again. It says, also of your own selves shall men arise, right? Your TD snakes, right? All these so-called pastors out here living in sin. Most High's not playing. He's not playing. Well, I'm going to give the church to my daughter. You going to do what? The Most High didn't do that. He didn't put a woman over the congregation. He said put a man over the congregation. This is his words, right? This is his words. Put a man over the congregation. Because guess what? Women are going to get to the point where they become soft-hearted. Well, I know she wants to be better. Well, she done slept with 3 sisters' husbands and they want to kill her. Oh, well, we gotta turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. She did more than turn the cheeks. But again, this is why a man had to be over a woman, because without doing so, this is what's going to happen. The children always try to come to the woman because the mother is more compassionate. She's more loving. She's more nurturing. They remember that. So they remember, oh, the woman held me all this time. The husbands can hold them a lot too, but they're still going to go to the mother because guess what? They know man loves his wife. So I can't go to him. I got to go to her. The same thing. Esther had to go to Xerxes to get them to be able to have that little shindig, right? That little meeting with Haman, right? They had to use that woman to get to the man. The serpent, he knew he couldn't get Adam to do it. What did he do? He went to the weaker vessel and used her to basically be a Trojan horse to Adam, right? Got to think about it. This is the reason why it says here, also of your own selves shall men arise, right? How many wicked elders you got out there, right? Speaking perverse things, right? To draw away disciples after them. They're being turned away, right? They're being turned away. You got to be very mindful of these things, right? You got to be doing thus say the Lord. Let's go over to James 1:14. Let's stack it, right? Because they're speaking of perverse things to draw away disciples after them. Let's see how, right? Con, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Moses. That's not what those verses say in John 14:26 or Jeremiah 31:33. Don't say that. He never says, I'm going to put fringes on your insides. You're adding to the scripture saying that. We're not in the new covenant yet, right? You got to understand, if that's the case, how are you still teaching? You said you're trying to win your family over to Christ. You're trying to teach them what Christ said do. So if you're in the new covenant, they should already know. See how you just cut yourself saying that? The fringes are on our garments to be a light to the world, to let them know, hey, we're set apart. To let another Israelite know, hey, I'm keeping the laws and statutes and commandments just like you are. Right? That's why it's a happy thing when you meet a brother or sister who got their fringes on. Shalom, brother. Shalom, sister. Hey, their face light up. They look down, see them fringes, their face gonna light up. They see a woman in modest apparel, she's being shamefaced, their face is gonna light up. But guess what? Like it said back in Acts 29:30, hey, it's gonna be some wolves trying to sneak in to get that flock, right? Because we are the sheep. James 1:14 is going to tell you why, right? It's going to explain to you why this is even being said. James chapter 1, verse 14. But every man is tempted to keep Thanksgiving, right? So I could be a victim. So if you believe that, then what are you the victim of? Because you're still keeping Thanksgiving. Those elders wasn't telling us to keep Thanksgiving, right? At the end of the day, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is what I follow, right? That's what I follow. Having a good example of seeing someone who's going to keep those law, statutes, and commandments, that's letting your light shine. You got to know the difference, right? Versus you assuming and then kicking against the pricks, right? And murmuring, oh, well, so you could be the victim of the original bad teachers of Israel. How would you say that? Now, that's an assumption, right? Because this is the first time I've ever seen you on any of my lessons, right? I don't think I've seen you on the platform any other time. Or maybe you have been. I could be wrong, right? But again, I'm looking at what James 1:14 says based on what you did yesterday, right? I bet you didn't throw out them leftovers because after every feast day, we throw that food away, right? Passover, we got to throw that lamb out after they make it. Ain't no taking it home. You better eat this now because we're commanded to do it. That was the act we were supposed to be doing. We were supposed to be in haste, right? Nobody was making no to-go plates to carry in between the Red Sea when they knew the Egyptians was on their behind trying to get them, right? And spirits of death was after them. You think they had time to make a to-go plate? No, they didn't. They had to let that thing go on the fire. That's it. Burn it, right? But again, it says in verse 14, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. You were enticed to keep Thanksgiving. The lust of you saying you was going to win your family over for Christ. That's the lust. You're wanting to be looked at as, oh, I brought them over. No, you didn't. If the Most High don't want you, you're not going. You're not. You got to look at it for what it really is. The Most High don't want you, you're not going. You can forget about it, right? You don't want to be what this scripture saying. Drawn away of his own lusts and enticed. It says every man is tempted. You were tempted to keep that Thanksgiving and you kept it. You thought you were doing something good. But the Most High said, I don't deal with that. Where's keeping Thanksgiving in the feast days? Because I named just about all of them. And I asked if you kept them, right? He says, go read what the Holy Spirit would be to bring back to your remembrance to keep the commandments in St. John's 14:26. Again, you're asking me to read stuff that have nothing to do with the lesson. Let's stay on point, right? That's the whole thing. Let's stay on point. Deuteronomy 13:6, right? Because what you're saying, we got to deal with these scenarios, right? We have to deal with the idolatrous spirits that move around, telling us to do things. Deuteronomy 13:6, right? It says, because you want to deal with your family members' idolatry, right? And if you say you're an Israelite and you're telling me this, that, and the third, I got to deal with it if you're family, right? If you're family, right? It says, if thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods. Thanksgiving. Let us serve other gods. Christmas, right? Which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, right? It says, namely, the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth, right? You can't deal with this, man. So you thinking that you keeping Thanksgiving that was going to be pleasing to the Lord, we just read it right there. Because when you read down, look at this, verse 8, it says, and thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Don't keep that Thanksgiving. Your family should have been telling you no, but they was all for it. Neither shall thy eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thy hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people, right? They were telling you what to do. These were commandments, right? Now, we don't put people to death, right? You put people away. They don't exist anymore, right? My family upset, I don't keep Thanksgiving. They don't exist in that realm, right? They don't. Like they'll say, you're dead to me. No way. Keeping Thanksgiving, that's dead to me. Keeping Christmas, that's dead to me. Celebrating 4th of July, dead to me. New Year's under Gregorian, January the 1st, dead to me. Because how can that be the New Year's if everything is still in winter? All the animals are still hibernating. Everything's still in the dead of the snow. Passover, that's alive to me. Feast of First Fruits, that's alive to me. New Moons, alive to me, right? Day of Atonement, alive to me. Tabernacles, alive to me. Dedication, alive to me. These things are alive to me, right? Based on I'm keeping the commandments and live. We're commanded to do these high holy days. I gotta ask you, what are you doing, right? What are you doing? Brother Harmon, are you keeping the high holy days as you're instructed to do, right? As Christ did? Or you're gonna serve other gods which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers. You didn't know the spirit of Thanksgiving, but you celebrated it yesterday with your family. What if the Most High decided to bring death upon your house because of that? Gas leak next door, spontaneous combustion, and it took out your whole family, and then you lived through that. Right? How would that make you feel? Most High is giving us opportunity to get right. You got to get right. Right? Proverbs 1:10, because we got to look at it. Got to look at it for what it is. Because I'm very sure somebody murmured, I don't want to go over there and keep Thanksgiving. Oh, well, you want to go. This is your family, right? Proverbs 1:10, and it reads, it says, my son, if sinners entice thee to keep Thanksgiving, to keep Christmas, to do the ways of the world, to serve other gods, to eat food sacrificed unto, right, other gods. What does it do? It says, consent thou not, right? It's telling you, consent not. Don't do it. Don't give you consent, right? So be thankful for the blessing of God on my life, serving the Lord. Spirit and truth is different. Then why are you doing it on a particular day when are you keeping, like I said, are you keeping new moon? You can do it then. That's not the ways of the man. That's the ways of what the Most High commanded. That's a holy convocation. Are you keeping the Sabbath? That's a feast day, right? It's a holy convocation. The Day of Atonement. Are you keeping that? Are you keeping the tabernacles out in the wilderness? Are you keeping the Passover? Are you keeping dedications, the Feast of Lights, first fruits? Are you doing that, right? Are you celebrating the destruction of Nicanor, right? The Day of Simon. These things that our people had convocations, holy convocations, that was your opportunity to be thankful, to gather, and to actually do that. You're thankful that the Most High gave you another Passover, that he brought your people out of Egypt. How many times did he have to get on our Israelite ancestors and say, I brought thee out of Egypt? How many times did he have to tell us that? How many times did he have to remind us, I brought y'all out of Egypt? That was one of the worst bondages you're in. And we're back in that same thing. This is spiritual Egypt and spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah and Babylon. All of those things rolled up into one, right? You're supposed to consent not, right? Job, right? Let's get Job. Get some wisdom real quick. They go with this wisdom. It says, if sinners entice thee, right? Because you were enticed to keep that holiday, that wicked national holiday. Because guess what? It ain't a national holiday to keep Passover. It's not a national holiday to keep the Day of Atonement. It's not any of that. Everything just goes on, right? The Sabbath, everything's open. You can buy, hey, Friday night, the club's free before 11. But it's the Sabbath, right? You're being enticed, right? Job 24:15. And it reads, it says, the eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight saying, right? How can you be an adulterer, you're asking yourself? Because if we're married to the Most High, right? If we are the fair damsel, right? The apple of the Most High's eye, right? How can we be in adultery, you probably ask yourself, right? Why is he reading this? It says, the eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight saying, no eye shall see me, and the skies of his face. Think about it. It's like a woman put on a whole bunch of makeup. She's not pretty like that. After you put on all that makeup, you can't really tell. You go into a club, it's halfway lit. They got drinks. Anything can be dropped into your drink. Anything, you go in there and you're doing lasciviousness, railing, you're getting drunk, you're doing all of these different things, right? This is how we're being adulterous, because guess what? You know you're not supposed to be going out on Sabbath night. When you tell these people of the world, hey, you're not supposed to be out here. If we go out to the street on a Sabbath night, right? Beginning on Friday evening, we telling women, hey, you're dressing modestly, sis. You can see, we can see the curves of your body, your breasts are exposed, things of that nature. They're going to tell you, get out of my face. There's that spirit on them of manipulation, right? Of guile. How many guys can I get to buy me a drink? Who am I going to go home and sleep with? All of those things are there. This is how you're playing the adulteress, right? All those men that are there willing to try to put something in a woman's drink or get her drunk so he can take her back and fornicate with her and cast her away, right? One night stand. Why do you think that Esau's come up with something called, hey, look, your prophylactics ain't working. Your condom's not working, right? Pull-out game not working. Here go a plan B. There you go. That'll make sure that your nation doesn't grow. Because our nation isn't growing. That's what Esau's saying. He knows that they have fertility plants for them in their neighborhoods, fertility plants to help them have children. And in our neighborhoods, they put abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood. How do you like that? Never thought about it. But I want to keep Thanksgiving. That's what you're thankful for? That your people, because if you're only worried about your own thankfulness, all right, you're not serving the Most High with joyfulness and glee. Because if the oppression of your people isn't making you mad, then you're not wise. As the scripture says, it makes a wise man mad, right? You got to think, how are you operating in that adultery? You ready to go out. You ready to go buy something. You're ready for the sun. You know what? Yeah, I'm going out tonight. I'm going this and that. Hey, but it's the Sabbath. Hey, you can keep that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep this kind of Sabbath. I'm going on Sunday, right? So you're going there with a hangover there. You're playing with your phone the whole time. The pastor's talking about foolishness and just wanting another offering. That's what you're doing, right? That's exactly what, bro, I knew it. I knew I was going to have somebody come in and ask me, where's your hair? Shiny bald head, no hair whatsoever on your head or your face. Look at it really good. This is what alopecia looks like. My hair came out when I was 7. Don't have any eyebrows, right? And I know that you're late because I already spoke about this because I knew somebody was coming to bring up, where's your hair, this, that, and the other, right? So again, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not, right? Don't disguise your face trying to get out in the twilight, right? Because guess what? You think that a lot of people think that they're slick and that they think they're able to get around what God has for them, right? We got to look. It says, beloved brother, my family can see the changes of me and my wife, how we eat, talk, what day we attend church. But you're keeping Thanksgiving. Let's say the Most High decides to wake up one of your family members that was attentive yesterday for your Thanksgiving feast, right? And they see that Thanksgiving is wicked. What do you think they're going to look at you and see? Where the change going to be at? Think about it. All that was for naught, right? All of that was for naught, right? Because if you're keeping that Thanksgiving, right? You're carving the turkey, you're doing all of that type of stuff. How is that pleasing to the Lord? Love not the world or the things of it. That was something of the world. You loved it. You and your wife enjoyed making that food. But why not keep the new moon and invite them over? Ask yourself that. Why not keep the new moon feast? Make the feast food, like you said, dietary law was in effect, right? Why not keep that versus keeping something on that day? If you wanted to be thankful to the Lord, why not be thankful that he allowed you to see another new moon? Why not be thankful to the Lord that you're getting to see another Sabbath? That's where your thankfulness needs to come in at, right? Psalms 10 and 11, right? Psalms 10 and 11. Let's really look at what's happening. He have said in his heart, God have forgotten. God's not paying attention to my Thanksgiving, right? He hid of his face. He will never see it. God doesn't worry about little small stuff like that. Okay? You assume that, right? You assume that he'll never see it. This is why it says, they waited for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me, and disguises their face. And that's why I stack that up with Psalms 10 and 11. He has said in his heart, God have forgotten, right? That's where you thought you were disguising your face. He hid of his face. He will never see it, right? Go to Jeremiah, another precept. Go to Jeremiah 23 and 24, right? Let's look at something, right? Let's examine something. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 24. Can any hide himself in the secret places that I shall not see him? Right? Can any of them do that? Said the Lord. Do not I feel heaven and earth, said the Lord? How can you think that you're going to get it? Oh, I'm just keeping the Thanksgiving. The Lord's not looking at that, right? My grandmother said, I don't think that God is going to be upset or do anything to me if I eat this pork. They're eating pigtail. All right. House smelled like abomination. She said that. And I said, Grandma, you can't say that. You don't know what your grace is like. Oh, well, he's not going to do that. I said, all right. I left. I went outside. I couldn't stand the smell. Right. Next thing you know, my grandma couldn't walk a couple of days after that. She was walking just fine. She's a cosmetologist doing hair. Most High took her mobility away from her. She had to call my mother, right, through one of her customers, that was a hair customer, right? And basically my mom had to come home, get into the house. They found my grandmother holding on to the side of the bed. Her legs went completely out. She was walking with a walker. Her legs just didn't want to work no more. All right. Most High took her mobility because we don't know what the Most High is going to do. We can't say in our hearts what he's not going to see, what he's not going to be upset about, what he's not going to do, right? There's a lot of people who went to Thanksgiving yesterday, didn't make it home, didn't wake up this morning, right? They're not, that opportunity's gone. It's taken, right? You got to ask yourself, you can't keep shooting dice with the Lord, think you're going to win every hand, but you're not. Sooner or later, you're going to roll snake eyes. That's going to be it for you, right? Jeremiah 23 and 24, he said, I'm going to read it again. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, saith the Lord? Do not I feel heaven and earth, saith the Lord? Because people think, nobody's going to see me. I can keep doing this stuff, right? Those secret sins going to get you taken up out of here. Going to get you carried out, right? Let's go up me over to Psalm 53 and 1, right? It says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good, right? You got to ask yourself, right? If you're serving the Lord with gladness, right? As you're saying, if you're serving the Lord with gladness, why are you not doing it on the feast days that the Most High appointed to you to do, right? You don't want the Most High to cast his Holy Spirit away from you. That's the understanding. That's the laws. That's the spiritual powers that you're feeding for, right? But David in this 53 and 1 had to describe a man's sinfulness, right? Because this is why you would assume, oh, the Lord don't see me. There's nothing happened, right? That's why it says, the fool saith in his heart, there is no God. You know why? Jeremiah 17 and 9. Let's look at what the heart is, right? Jeremiah 17 and 9. It says, the heart is deceitful above all things. And we're not talking about the muscle in your chest that pumps blood throughout your body. We're talking about your mind, right? It says, the heart is deceitful among all things. No one's going to see me. Nobody's going to know. God's not worried about that. And it says, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Right? There's one person that can know it, right? There's one person that, well, two people, Christ and the Most High, right? The Most High first, then Christ, because he's created you. He know you from the womb. How you think he don't know your heart? He know how you're going to die. He know what day you're going to be born on up to the millisecond, right? He know when them contractions are going to come on your mother, right? He knows when your mother and father are going to consummate, right? He knew it. He knew how everybody was going to meet and how everything was going to work just to bring you about, right? He may have not wanted your mother or father. He may just wanted you. He went through doing all of that just to bring you forth, just for you to be awoken to bring back the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Are we letting the Lord down by being turned away? Yes, we are. We're definitely doing that. That's why I was telling you, the heart is deceitful among all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Because a lot of people serve God with their mouth. Oh, I love the Lord. Are you doing what he said do? You got to ask yourself, are you doing that? Right? It says, who can know it? Right? Let's see who can know it. Because if you think that what you were doing, you said it. You was winning your family over for Christ, right? Look at something. Let's go over to Psalms 44 and 21, right? It says, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart, right? You got to ask yourself, was that what you were really trying to do? Because if he gave you feast days and high holy days to serve him, to bring forth thanksgiving and gladness and joyfulness and glee, why are you doing it on a day that implements the slaughter of your people? If you're saying you're an Israelite, why are you celebrating the actual celebration of killing millions of Northern Kingdom kinsmen, your Gadites and your Reubenites? Why are you celebrating that? What does that have to do with bringing your family to the Most High? How does that please the Lord by doing that? I need to know, right? I need to know. Thank you. The water, Moses. God, before we was formed in the belly, he knew us. He knew how it was going to go, right? He knew you was going to keep that Thanksgiving. He knew you was going to get on this comment section and say you was doing it to win your family over for Christ. Did it work? Because guess what? One plants the seed, the Lord waters it. How is that plant the seed? That's unfertile ground. That's not. You're keeping the ways of the heathen. The heathen keep the Thanksgiving. They were the ones who kept the first. The Native Americans wasn't keeping no Thanksgiving. All right. They were thankful that they were successful in destroying and eliminating the actual communities that the Native American welcomed them into. Right? That's what they were thankful for. And they wrote it in their memoirs. They wrote it in their books. They show it in their movies. You think Pocahontas, right? And this is why I be so mad during this month. You think Pocahontas was a love story, but that's what Disney gonna tell you. Oh, Pocahontas was 12 years old. John Smith was like damn near 40, right? You will let your 12-year-old daughter go off with some 40-year-old stranger? Oh, well, if I can't have Pocahontas, then we're gonna kill everybody. He told Pocahontas, look, if you're not gonna marry me, I'm gonna kill your daddy and everybody around him, right? That's the real story of Pocahontas. You think the Native Americans ain't upset? Why do you think they have to be hidden? They have a big reason to be upset in regards to it, right? They got a real big reason. The Aztecas, the Mayans, the Incas, right? They got a real big reason to be upset during this time. But what they try to do, hey, let's cover it with some other stuff. Then you got the nerve to name today the indigenous, Indigenous Appreciation Day or Acknowledgement Day. Y'all just did it yesterday. We killed y'all, then we're going to acknowledge you the next day. We acknowledge you by doing Black Friday sales. Nobody cares about what day it is today, as long as they can get their 40, 50% off on something that's been sitting anyway. Oh, another TV. Wow. Another figamajig, right? And something else that you don't need, right? Come on. All right. Oh, that's Barakashah. Oh, okay. That's what I think that you type in Moses. Barakashah. Okay. Yeah. And that's BARACHASHAM. Barakasham. Bless you, God. Let's keep going, right? Luke, because the Most High knows the secrets. He knows all of it. We can't trick him. We can make it sound good. You can trick a man, right? Hey, don't try and entice me. I'm not going to consent with that, right? Neither the people who are wisely following the Most High, because that's why Christ said, "My sheep shall hear my voice." If Yahweh was the word made into the flesh, he's the word of the Most High. How do we hear the voice? By doing what the commandments say do. That's it. Doing thus say the Lord, right? Luke 8:17, right? This is red letter because we got to see what the Most High was talking about. But this was the parable of the sower, right? I'm gonna just jump down to 17 to get the actual point. It says, "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad," right? There is no secrets you can hide from the Most High, right? You can't do it. The prophets warned you, everyone, hey, If you're thinking that keeping that Thanksgiving was doing your family good, you never know what. That may shorten somebody's grace. Congratulations. That's not what you were trying to do, but guess what? A lot of times the Most High may have to use somebody you really care about as an example to do what he say do. I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it up close. I've seen him do it from afar. You don't want to be in that eyesight. You don't want to be in that vision path, right? Jeremiah 16:17, right? It says, "For my eyes are upon all the ways." So he knew what you was doing at Thanksgiving. He knew what you was doing when you was putting that Christmas tree up, right? He knew about them Christmas cookies you ate at work and you didn't tell your wife, or you didn't tell your husband, or you ate them Christmas cookies at school you didn't tell your parents. He knew about that. He knew y'all was in there tracing y'all hands making a turkey, right? He knew y'all was in there doing that, right? He says his eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is there iniquity hid from my eyes, right? Read verse 18, right? It says, "And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled my inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things." What do you think you did when you celebrated Thanksgiving? That don't mean I don't believe that salvation is not for other nations, right? And I do. That's the thing. You want to save the other nation. That's why you're keeping the ways of the world, right? We know it. I'm not trying to dispute you. I know what you're trying to do, right? I know what you're trying to do. You've been enticed. You've been turned away. You think that the Most High said he's coming back for other nations and he didn't. So are you calling Christ a liar when he says, "I've only come for the lost sheep of the house of Israel"? Is he lying when the angel told Mary he's going to be sent to his people, right? There's not one scripture that says salvation is for everybody. You try to use John 3:16, "For God so loved the world," right? But Christ says, "I pray not for the world." You got to really look at what's being used against you in a way of saying, "Oh, wait a minute." The Most High said, "Hey, I'm separating y'all. I don't want you to learn the ways of the heathen because I'm going to destroy them," right? It's just like a teacher that has a favorite student. She sees that child hanging out with those children that don't want to do their work, not paying attention in class, they're failing every test. Hey, you come sit in the front. Let them stand in the back, right? That's separation. That's the same grace and mercy the Most High is doing for us. I don't want you celebrating Chinese New Year's, right? I don't want you celebrating the actual Thanksgiving or Christmas or any of these heathen holidays, Kwanzaa, right? I don't want you celebrating that. I've given you more than enough. More than enough. You have a new moon every month, right? You have an additional high holy day every month. What do you get twice the opportunity to be thankful and to serve the Lord? If you think that the Most High is saving anybody else, my question I have for you, right? No, the other nations are not sinning against God. You know why? He didn't give them the law, statutes, and commandments, right? That's the whole thing. I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove it. Because we gotta prove things, right? How can the heathen nations sin if the Most High is not their God? Right? Right? How can they sin, right? Psalms 147:19. He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes, and his judgments unto Israel. Did it say the rest of the world? No, right? He have not dealt so with any nation. So tell me if the nation are his chosen people. Because it's saying right here, right? So is David a liar? This is in the Bible. Why wasn't it? Hey, if it didn't happen, if it ain't true, why is it here? Let's keep going. He has not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. The other nations don't know the judgments. They don't know the law, statutes, and commandments because they weren't given to them. They were given unto the seed of Jacob, 12 tribes, right? And the statutes and judgments unto Israel. What gate would the heathen nations go in? 17? Oh, okay. I started 17. He casteth forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow and the waters to flow. He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Right? David was giving thanks, wasn't on Thanksgiving. He was praising the Lord that they were the only ones that got the word of the Most High, right? That's why I'm reading in Jeremiah 16 and 17, and it says, for my eyes are upon all their ways. Who? The children of Israel. Those his children. When you at the park and your kids are playing, you're watching your children to make sure they don't get hurt. You can care less. That little boy just fell on his neck off the monkey bar. You don't care. That little girl went down the slide and sliced her leg open. You don't care. As long as your child is safe, you don't care. You're not riding home saying, I wonder what happened to that little girl. You care not. You're going to tell your children, that's why I said don't get on that slide. That's why I said don't get on the monkey bars, because that can happen to you, right? The warning, the pride comes before the fall, right? It says, for my eyes are upon their ways, his children. They are not hid from my face. When we were in those sins, when we were doing things that we weren't supposed to be doing, right? It says, neither is there iniquity here from my eyes. The sins, what is sin? Transgression of the law. If the laws wasn't given to the other nations, how can the other nations transgress and sin? I'll wait, right? I'll wait. Let's look at, let me get my last precept. Genesis 3 and 10. All right. Genesis 3 and 10. And it reads, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. Right? How can you hide from the Lord? He sees everything. You think he didn't know that that Eve went to that tree and basically gave a view of that same tree that y'all weren't supposed to deal with, right? That's why he says in verse 11, right? We were not supposed to know evil, right? It says, and he said, who told thee? A man told him, right? That thou was naked. What is naked? Sin. Being naked is sin, right? Hast thou eaten of the tree? Therefore I commanded thee that thou should not eat, right? So again, verses saying yes, guess what? Started pointing blame, right? Turned away. Adam was turned away from keeping those commandments, right? It says, and the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat, right? And the Lord God said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me and I did eat, right? So they wasn't going to lie at that point, right? Because there's no way you can lie to the Most High. He already knows. He already knew that they ate the tree. This is how I deal with my children. When I know that they did something, I'm already going to let them know that I know, and I'm giving them the opportunity to be truthful in that. And I always tell them, you're not lying to me first. You're lying to the Most High first. Then you're lying to Yahweh Shai. Then you're lying to me. So you're lying to 3 people just to tell one lie, right? It doesn't make sense to lie. And they just go ahead and they expose their sin, right? If they're disobedient, right? This is what we have to look at. You don't want to be turned away. You want to not consent when you're enticed by others, right? You have to really, really look at what you're doing, right? It says, beloved brother, you don't yet understand that Israel's chosen position is only protocol. We are the chosen priests and teachers to all the other nations, right? That's what you're saying, right? Gotta get it, man. Because guess what? Was everybody going to get marked? Right? Was everybody going to get marked? Was everybody going to get sealed? Right? Let's go to Revelation 7 and 3, and then I'm going to get up out of here, right? Because I wasn't even trying to go this long. Revelations 7 and 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads, right? And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000, all of the tribes of the children of Israel. Where were the other people sealed at? Where were the other nations sealed at? Where was their salvation, right? because they was getting ready to destroy the earth. They was getting ready to let the 4 horsemen loose, right? Where were the seals for the other nations? Where were they? I'm going to leave you with that, right? I'm going to leave you with that. If you feel that the Most High's, hey, the 12 gates, tall and high, for the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, 12 angels, right? Where were the other people saved at, right? Where were they saved? I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the statute that I read in Deuteronomy 4. That's going to be my law for today. In the battle axe of the Most High, we say, please, Babakushah, keep the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Yahweh Shah, right? We beg and plead, right, for our people to do these things, right? We want you to be of the chosen elect, because we know how difficult it's going to get. We know that there's going to be those that try to turn you away, right? We see that a lot of our people have been turned away to thinking that they can save the heathens of the world, right? Let me ask you a question before I go too, right? Is Brother Harmon, is your wife of one of the other nations, or is she Israelite as well? I'm just wondering, right? Wait until you read 1 Thessalonians and Isaiah and this, that, right? Opening, this is the mission of Christ. Our mission is to keep the commandments and live, right? That's it. Are the other heathen nations going to learn their judgment when we're out there street teaching on the street? Or they come across this video and watch? Are they going to repent of their atrocities? No, they're not. Because what's something they always say? That was a long time ago. That wasn't me. I had nothing to do with that. They're not going to repent. They don't care, right? Because if that was the case, why isn't Thanksgiving canceled? You cancel everything else. They canceling celebrities because you say this about this type of people or this group of people, right? But yet y'all not canceling Thanksgiving. All those Native Americans that were slaughtered, but y'all not canceling that, right? You got to ask yourself, who are you serving? Who are you serving at this point? You kept Thanksgiving. You didn't cancel that. That wasn't pleasing to the Lord. So was it pleasing for the heathen nations to kill Gad and Reuben nights during that time and to celebrate that as a pagan holiday every year? Is that pleasing to the Lord for you to commit pagan holiday worship? So I'm asking you, right? Is your wife one of these heathen nations? Let me read this statute first, man. Because I know people got things to do today, right? The Most High not going to play with you, right? I have patience, and I think the Most High, He's given me a spirit of patience. Because I didn't have no patience at one. I used to, ask anybody that knows me. When I first became a moderator, thou art blocker, thou art blocker, thou art blocker, thou art blocker. Probably 50% of the people blocked on our page is probably done by one of these fingers, right? They had to say, hey, let them come here, let them plead their cry. Hey, this is how the other nations have to come and learn. We go into the scripture and we show them, thus say the Lord, right? That's what we're teaching them. Hey, you're not getting salvation. We are, because you did this. This is the outcome, and this is what's going to happen in the end. Thus say the Lord, not this, thus say us. This is how you teach the other nations. You can't teach them to keep the commandments because that's not something that's given to them. They can try as hard as they want. They're never going to get it. Esau changed the day of the Lord to Sunday. You think he care about us keeping new moon or Passover, any of that stuff? If he doesn't even want us keeping the most important high holy day, which is the Sabbath on the correct day, got to ask yourself. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathens, whither the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor smell. Right? But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Right? This is how you're going to actually get that opportunity, right? This is how you do it. Not keeping these wicked holy days. Jump over to 14, Deuteronomy 4:14, and then we're done. And the Lord commanded me at this time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it. All right? So no matter where you go, he told us to keep the commandments. He told us he was going to scatter us, right? He told us to seek the Lord with all thy heart. Keeping Thanksgiving, keeping these holidays, worrying about these heathens being saved that can't sin, that they was given the law, statutes, and commandments, ain't going to get them into the kingdom of heaven, bro. I want to give a God a wall, right? Call halal, right? La Abanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, right? Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yasharala, Barakatah Akim Wa Akhwatim Shemai. I am just a humble servant of the Lord. I'm Ehud Ban Yasharala, right? The Battle Axes of the Most High. This has been another Fervent Friday, Black Friday. Be not turned away into the ways of this world. With that, I bid you a very peaceful day of preparation, right? Tune in this evening. We have the First Work Friday class going, and tomorrow we have the Sabbath class going, right? Again, I bid you shalom. New moon is this weekend. Please prepare your provisions, as I shall be doing myself. Thus said the Lord, and that, shalom.